Hey everyone, it's Will from Garage Built Athlete, and thanks for joining us for episode 3 of season 2 of the Garage Built Athlete podcast. Today, Matt and I talk about morning routines, why they're important, what we've tried, what's worked, and what hasn't. Things like sunrise lamps, ice baths, supplements, habit trackers, getting ourselves to the gym, and general mindset around the morning routine. As always, links to everything that we talk about will be in the description below. So if you'd like to support us, use the links at no extra cost to you. And if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We'd love to get your feedback on the videos. Drop a comment below. If you like the content and think it's going to help somebody that you know, please do share it with them. And now, sit back, relax, and enjoy episode 3.
Episode 3. The difficult episode. However,
the awkward third podcast.
However, I wanted to, before we get into anything, obviously we're gonna talk about a few things today. One, I'm gonna need another pork update because that's important. I know that everybody who watches wants to know what's happened with the deporkification.
They're on tenterhooks.
If we do a tooth update, I have to do a warning to people who are a bit squeamish because I've had people say, "Oh, I had to skip past the tooth." Because
Why?
they just couldn't handle it. They listen. They can't handle the tooth. So
Was that setting up for that, or can
they?
they literally not handle the tooth?
No, it wasn't a setup for that. But just as I thought, what's that film? Is it A Few Good Men? You can't handle the tooth.
You can't handle the tooth. Well, that's in my mouth, so.
Mm. So that's another thing. And I also wanted to highlight we're almost at a career best effort with podcast views because
Why never?
our lifetime best on season 1 was season 1 episode 1. Obviously novelty kicked in, everyone's curious what's going on. 78 views.
Oof.
Not 70,
Novelty.
not 78,000 views. A clean 78.
78 double-digit views. Mm.
Yeah, which is why I like to consider this as more of a hobby.
Good job.
Yeah. And so far, I'm going to get current stats up so far on season 2. So let me just find this on the app. Bear with. So episode 1, a dizzy 66 views to date, mind you. That's only in a couple of weeks.
Not 3 years.
Episode 1, season 1, yeah, 3 years hence. And season 2 so far 62 views. So we lost a couple, but I think we can make it back. What do you think about that?
It's good. It's all positive. All going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Views is views. Let's see. Well, if we say interesting stuff, then people will watch it. If we don't say interesting stuff, people won't watch it. So
yeah.
What are you going to do?
Say interesting
stuff.
Can't
do nothing about it, can we?
Yeah.
Try.
Yeah. So that's my little bit. And if you're here and you're watching or listening, because we're available on Spotify as well and all good podcasting platforms. Thank you very much. We are, yeah. Anywhere you can get your podcast, you can get this.
I don't even know where that would be. Where else would that be?
Apple Podcasts, podcast places. There used to be a Google podcast platform, but I think it's defunct now.
The Pod Factory.
Pod Factories.
Pod Squad.
Yeah. I think YouTube and Spotify is pretty much the main places people go.
I wouldn't even go anywhere else.
Apple Podcasts. We're actually trending number 5 in the UK on Apple Podcasts right now.
No, we're not.
We're not. That is my positive affirmation. Because imagine if we were, and then we could say that without lying.
Imagine if we were trending number 5 on a podcast named Garage Built Athlete Podcast.
I think we're probably 6 out of 5.
It could be.
I think we're just off the podium on that one.
We're running up the front on that one.
Yeah,
getting ready for a sneaky move.
Yeah. So there you have it. So yeah, that's my little update. Just on progress over
That's
perfection.
beautiful.
What's happening with the pork?
The pork, we're nearly done. We're only 2 days out of the finish line. I weighed in this morning 78.9 kilos.
So how much have you reduced that kilo input and over how long? Just for anybody who hasn't been following along with the story
I
and
think it was
writing
about
notes.
5 kilos because I'd never really got that first shot of what it actually was. But it
Hmm.
was ballpark. It was at least 84, at least, if not 85. And it basically started 1st of January, more or less, a little bit
Okay.
later, maybe second or third. So we're 6 weeks, touching 7 weeks, I guess, because January's a long month, isn't it?
It's not
7 weeks.
short. That's not far off a kilo a week, is it? Maybe.
Yeah, which I
It's
was
not
also
far off.
thinking that that actually seems like quite a lot, doesn't it? Because that's actually £2 a week. So that's pretty
It's
crazy.
decent. That is the
Um,
equivalent of when people first go on like a Slimming World diet, don't they? And then they go, "Oh, I lost 2 pounds in my first week,"
that is the first time I've been
and
on
then
a
everyone's
Slimming
like,
World diet.
"Ooh, first week losses always good," and then they go, "Oh, the difficult second week. It's only
I was
difficult if you if you move less than you eat. Please,
Well,
please move more."
that's not so easy though, is it? Honestly, it's the eating part that's the more complex part, I think, isn't? Because you, like we talked about before, you don't realize how much damage you do with a little bit of, let's call it excess. A little slip up
Mm,
can make a mess, can't it? Especially if it then leads to another. Like I'm just cooking now, which is all part of the morning routine setup. Just cooking now and couldn't resist tucking a few little spoons in there, could I? Try
little
that out.
rice
I'll try
nip.
it. No, there's no rice. That just doesn't get cooked, so I get out of my own way with the rice, but the actual
Yeah,
food. Tricky one. So yeah, about a kilo a week, which is pretty mad. I am on target for Saturday, which is the final day. Leon is 100 grams over as of today, and I'm 100 grams under as of today. But I did ride last night, so I trained in the morning, and let's call it trained in the evening because I was riding in the evening. And that dehydrates you a bit as well. So I was really quite light last night, and then drank a bunch of water, and then ended up just under. So I think probably on track for maybe ballpark 78 point,
perfect. Shall we?
which would be half a kilo under.
And we'll find out next week.
And the tooth, I won't show it then
Yeah.
for all the squeamish
Is it
people there. But there's no
is it
update
going
on
in?
that.
Okay.
It's just in my mouth, so it's still in my mouth. And next appointment, if I didn't miss it, is next week. I think. Next week, Thursday, I believe.
Sweet.
And that's
Cool.
now 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or something like that.
Have you ski bikes since?
No, because I don't want to hit it or move it, basically.
But you've done
So
normal bike instead.
I've done mountain bike and motocross and trained. And I ski bike down after I knocked it out. I still had to get down. So
Yeah,
ski bike down straight afterwards with the thing punched up in my mouth. So yeah, it was okay. It was
sweet.
pretty well held in place.
Right, let's crack on then. What's the topic of the day? You dropped it already.
So
If anyone's keen to really show that they were listening, Matt's dropped it already. Have a think about what it could be. Pause the podcast, and you're going to find out if you got it right.
it's morning routine
Morning routine. Why are we going to talk about morning routines?
because I like it.
Cool. So we've done diet, we've done gratitude, and now we're doing morning routines. I feel really like I'm kind of woke and new and all that kind of stuff. Talk about this stuff, but that's probably not the right phrase to use. I think it's quite a
Don't think it's
negative
woke, is
phrase
it?
now.
Don't think it's woke. I think it's just a good thing to do to set you up the right way for the day. But morning success predicated by evening preparation.
Okay.
This is the critical part for me. I would say that's my standout phrase for this topic is you're basically setting yourself up for success in the morning by your preparation the night before slash even more days before.
Okay.
So yeah,
So what,
this is important.
so should we start with the morning prep, or do you want to, sorry, the evening prep, or do you want to go straight into morning routine? Actually, before you answer that, I'm going to ask you a question.
Hit
What,
me.
why do you have a morning routine?
I was just trying to answer that very same question myself, which
Hmm.
is interesting because we didn't even rehearse this. And that's the
We
truth.
actually haven't. We never do. This is why,
I was
we're 78 views in.
I was thinking about it, and then I was thinking like what were the results, but the results didn't really get me the why as such.
Mhm,
So I think the why I do it now, having thought about it, is I tend, without some sort of aim or direction,
mhm,
um, I will struggle to just keep going through things that need to get done for some reason. I'm a bit distractible. So if I've got a list, I'm good to go. And if I've made the list in some sort of intentional way, like I've always got a list, I've always got a list, I'm always writing things down. So it basically like establishes my aim for the morning,
mhm,
gives me a little bit of direction. My time is a bit short in the morning, but I've like made it deliberately short for myself. So I have to have it structured and with something to just like knock out and bang through. Otherwise, I won't get it done. And it's still a little bit tight on time. I think also good. So this is kind of a result of the morning routine. It's not why I have the morning routine, but if I have the list and I've written it down and I say I'm going to do these things, then I'm accountable to myself. And I can't really just let myself lie there
mhm.
and not get up. So I think it helps me set up for the day, make sure I train, which I realized after a long time, like I was training and been training for a long time now, but didn't really realize how I need is probably a bit too strong, but it's really good for my mood, like how I feel on a daily
Mhm.
basis. So I have to basically make sure I get that in so that I just feel good, basically. So it sets up for that, I would say. So sets up a bit of aim, make sure I train. That's the most critical thing in that morning routine, I think, for me, is to make
Yeah.
sure I get the training in. All the other stuff can give or take. But if I get the training in, that's already set me up for like the rest of the day being good. But there's a few things that I need to do to make sure I get that done.
Cool.
So I would say that's why.
So I'm getting from that, it actually, you already get the win in at the start of the day, so that the rest of the day is then all good. So it's like you're not
Yeah.
waiting to have gone, oh, I've done the stuff I need to do today. Come the end of the day, it's like, right, bang, straight away, do the things that I need slash want to do, and then the rest of the day can go up or down from there. But it starts with success, really.
Yeah, start with a win, and then you also get to control that win, don't you, as well? So you kind of like take control of your day immediately at the start instead of letting that be dictated by someone else. But that's also important, I think, this evening preparation, because you can also get in your own way without, or I can get in my own way by thinking, oh, I'll do that in the morning. Guaranteed 100% every time that I think I'm doing that in the morning, that's going to get done in the morning because whatever I do, I'll make sure I go and train. But it will then be either a rush or I won't have enough time to do all the things I want, or I'll miss something here, or I won't get, oh yeah, I'll turn up there and I've forgotten my socks or something like that. Do you know what I mean? There's like this sort of thing
Yeah,
happens. So
yeah,
just get out
yeah,
of my own way,
yeah.
sort all the stuff out the night before, and then make sure I get minimum training in. But I started a few things more recently,
Hit me
dropped a few
then.
more things in
Hit me with the morning routine.
there. Right now, I've got first thing, like, because I tried a bunch of different things. So right now, what it is like, what's the point of doing it? Clear the cobwebs out of my brain from night before, because I mentioned before I'm not amazing at going to bed on time, so I don't get loads of sleep. So I need to get cobwebs out, and that I do breath work. So the classic Wim Hof easy is on YouTube. Wim Hof beginner. I think it's just beginner breath work, I think. And it's like a round of 1 minute breath hold, then I think it's like 1 minute, 1:15, 1:30. So I do that to start off with. That is the trickiest thing, is basically getting that going, like getting out of your sort of dozy state and get that started. Once I've done that one, try and get breakfast in straight away. So that's all part of the prep work that goes the night before. So I like lay everything out on the side, get my breakfast in. Actually, that's not true. Right now, what I'm doing is weighing myself first, then get breakfast in. Normally, the weighing isn't in there, so that's like a substitute for this one. Get breakfast in, so that's just a cup of tea, protein shake, depending on what I'm doing, a banana maybe, and supplements. So all that stuff is prepared on the side. Um,
Just
Obviously, all the
pause.
other. Go on, mate.
Let's get into it. What supplements?
Right now, I'm trying to finish off this little diet challenge with Leon, so I've dropped in there some animal cuts, which are I'm only like 3 days into that. So that's all sorts in that. And I wouldn't even be able to tell you off the top of my head what was in there,
It's
but all
fine.
sorts of stuff like ginseng, caffeine, blah, blah, blah. And then like a zinc and magnesium one, and then just a protein shake. But also, if I don't lay that out all on the side, then one of those is going to get forgotten. So, like I said, also creatine. I put creatine in my tea. So I make the tea the night before, put that on the side. In the morning, I just put everything out next to each other. So I dump the creatine in the tea. The supplement stuff is already there. That gets done with the tea. Protein shake goes in. Breakfast is done.
In a hot tea?
No, no, just I just make it the night before. So I just
Oh,
have like an
okay.
apple fruit tea. It's just basically some liquid, basically, just to like get
Apple tea.
hydrated. Apple tea. So that goes in.
Yeah.
The trickiest part, like I say, is managing to get rolling in time to just do the breathing, because that breath work takes 10 minutes. So if I get up, if I like don't get moving quickly enough,
Mm.
then it means I'm already running out of time, because I
Yeah.
set my alarm for 5, and now I'm trying to use this Lumi, which we can talk about another time. Yeah, 5. So I set my alarm for
Five a.m.
5. This is a little bit optimistic, 5. So it can sometimes turn into 5:20. And then when it turns into 5:20, to put the breath work in there, then do the breakfast, weigh, get changed, brush teeth, grab the bag, all these things, that starts to get really tight. So it's super critical to just get moving as soon as possible. And only recently, just since we started talking about it last week, I've started to do journaling in the morning, which is actually really cool. But because I like writing, I said I would limit myself to 5 minutes, but that quite easily turns into like a minimum 15
Mm.
minute little session there. Because what I've done is took your notes that you mentioned
Hmm.
about what did we have? We had like, what habit have you improved? How am I better? What was your good deed? What did I do to improve today? So I took those prompts, and I also, because I like that Ryan Holiday Daily Stoic email, I registered for that, and that's coming. So I read that in the morning after everything is running and I'm woken up. I read that email, I write notes on the email, then I do the 4 prompts that you've done, and then just anything else, I put that down. And by that point, my brain is basically switched on. So that's good. So
Sweet.
not that much stuff. When I say it out loud, it doesn't sound like that many things, but for some reason I struggle to get that all in there in the morning. I think it's I'm running on some sort of slow motion.
Question.
Hmm.
5 a.m. Is that your aim to get up at 5 a.m. or do you have it 5 a.m. with an absolute deadline? If I don't get out of bed by 5:20, I'm done. Like I can't do it. So is it like if you could, you would just go 5 a.m. go, or is it like 5 a.m. to give you that little rouse time and have a buffer of 20 minutes in there?
I don't want the rouse time, but if I need it, I can still make it. But the margin is a bit too big. It's much bigger than I'd like. Because what I'd really like to do is just get to the gym at 6 when it opens. If I
Mm,
get to the gym at 6 when it opens, then I can basically be done by 7:30 and I'm already on the way to work before 8. But what's happening at the moment is like I'll get more or less rolling like out the door at 6:10, and
mm.
then it's like 6:10 from here. That means I'm in the gym 6:20, and then I'm going training at 6:30, and that half an
Yeah,
hour makes a big difference in the
massive.
morning. That it takes out all of your breathing space
Mm.
is the thing. So
And if you're anything like me, which you should be because we've got the same parents, I hate being late for stuff and I hate feeling rushed. So
mhm.
that would you say that little buffer, do you feel any better for utilizing that buffer when you get out of bed to not? Like if you just opened your eyes and went, oh, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to get up, compared to, oh, I don't want to do this, so I'm going to stay in bed for another 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely not. That
Yeah.
extra, it almost makes it worse.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I think in the is it in the Chimp Paradox when they talk about your chimp basically being in control when you're asleep?
Until 7
Um,
a.m. Yeah. 11 till
yeah,
7.
exactly. So it's so difficult to just get out because I set myself up for that as well. Like try and get out of my own way. So I've got the Lumi, which we talk about another day.
Mm,
I I don't put my alarm next to the bed, so my alarm goes on this table that we're sitting at. So I have to get out of bed to turn the alarm off. If I'm a little bit too sleepy, it's very easy to turn the alarm off because I've got a snooze on it. I hit the snooze and then
and
just
pull
go
back
back
in.
in bed, even though I know that it's not the answer. Like it doesn't make any difference if I get back in and have another 10 minutes because that's all I've got. I'm just going to
Yeah.
get 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't feel any more awake, but if I had stayed out of bed, then I'm already running. Do you know what I mean? So this is the big hurdle that I'm just trying to win those 10 minutes back at the minute.
The absolute hardest bit, isn't it, is the transition. It's like when you say actually going to the gym is harder than being at the gym. Like
Yeah.
actually physically going there, getting there.
Mhm,
Once
mhm,
you're there and you're up and you're
mhm,
rolling. But like
mhm.
the hard work really starts between opening your eyes and getting your feet on the floor. I can't.
But I can get my feet on the floor because I have to get my feet on the floor because the alarm is here.
I
Like you
need to
know where my
stay on
bed
the
is.
floor.
You know, my bed is in the corner and
Okay.
the alarm is here. So it's not even getting out of bed because that bit's annoying, isn't it? So I have to do that to get my peace back. Um, but for some reason, like once I'm out, I need to set up, and now we talk about it, it's quite interesting actually, because I need to set myself up and a trap for myself, which
Mm.
makes me then go a little bit further or hit the lights or something like because I thought the Lumi would be brighter.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the Lumi would be brighter, but I can sleep with the Lumi. I can sleep
Okay.
with that sunlight alarm on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little bit too chill. Like I like it in the
Mm.
morning because it's got this progressive increase of light. So you get woken up quite gently by that, but it's almost too gentle. And I thought it would be good, but and I don't like being jolted awake by the phone alarm. But actually, that wakes me up, and the Lumi is just kind of like a sort of soft,
Yeah.
a comfortable glow. Yeah, so
I don't know
that's
if
quite
you
interesting.
just throw the duvet off the bed when you get out, or just throw it across the room or
It's
something. So it's
so it's so weird, no? Because it's like you're not in control of your action at all in that. Because I do get out of bed, like my duvet's in a like disaster area anyway when I wake up. I always make my bed afterwards, so that would be on the list. But I've got a list of things that I need to have on a list to make sure I do, and then there's some stuff which is already automatic. Like make your bed, I just do that automatically, so that gets done. Um, but yeah, I can get out of the bed. That's fine because I'm getting out of the bed to stop the pain of this alarm.
mm,
But then the next bit of pain, even though I know that I should take that 10 minute, like take that 10 minutes I've won now and stay out of bed, sometimes very difficult to stay out of bed. I think it all also depends, like if I can go to bed about 10, then I'm good. Then I'm good to go. But when it turns into like 11 or 11 and a
mm.
bit, or like last night was 12 something, it was
Well, you're
like
on
12:30.
drugs.
Well, I was driving back from Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I'm
Okay,
not
night
running
man.
on much. Well, also that is quite interesting when you say night man because I think that's pretty proven, is it? That there are like what are they called? Night owls and morning larks. Like some people
Yeah,
function better in the morning, some people function better in the evening. I can work and concentrate much better in the evening. It's
I
like
used
I
to be able
could
to do
work all
that.
night.
I used to be able to do that until I started getting up early in the morning. So I think it really does depend on when you get up. Like, I'll
Yeah, but
go
I can
through
do both
mine
because
in a minute.
I'm up at 5 and I could go like if I didn't
Okay.
consciously make myself go to bed, I could just stay.
Mm.
The only reason I go to bed is because I know in the morning this is going to be a
It's gonna
disaster.
hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like I
there you
get
go.
to the point where I'm thinking, this is going to really suck.
Oh man, 8:45 rolls round, and I'm not starting another series of. I'm not starting another episode of Squid Game. That's
Yeah.
too much of a gamble. I'm like, well, it's nearly 9 o'clock. Nearly 9 o'clock. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Okay,
Well,
so
for a
you
long comment,
go on.
as I say, for a long time, I didn't even get in until 9 o'clock. And
Mm,
because I lived in Spain as well. And everything's offset there, but I was running on like British office hours. So we were in the office 8, something like that. But everything runs in Spain much later. So I'd like eat later. Like I
mm.
in the last few weeks, things have changed a bit here. So I'm like able to eat a bit early, but I would quite happily every day eat at like 10 o'clock. So
What other automatic things do you do which normal people might not do? So let's take out, go to the toilet, brush your teeth. You mentioned there you didn't make your bed
hmm.
down, but that's something that you just do automatically. Is there any other automatic stuff you do that maybe people don't consider as a
I don't
routine?
think so. Other than, well, I get everything ready for the morning the night before. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's I'm like looking there thinking, is there anything else that I do? But yeah, just the things like put the phone over here so I have to get up because if I have the phone next to the bed, you know what I'm going to do tomorrow? I'm going to put the phone in the kitchen.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
we go.
I'm going to try that.
There's a little breakthrough there.
I'm going to try that because it's almost like once I've got to the kitchen, then all of the stuff is there because I just listened to it was Tim Ferriss
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's Tim Ferriss and Andrew Huberman were talking. He's just done a podcast with him, I think, or maybe it's a bit older one. And they're talking about the slow carb diet. If anyone wants to look that up, sounds quite interesting. I'm not doing it for this thing that I'm doing with Liam, but there they talk about having a portion of protein within 30 minutes of getting out of it was something to do with metabolism. So I think the stuff that I do probably that really helps is all of the night before stuff. Yeah. So like make the tea the night before, pack my bag, write my training on the weekend. Because if I leave my training as well, like if I try and write my training in the morning, even the night before, because it's a little bit awkward that training, because I'm doing this 5-3-1 where it's a bunch of percentages and then the percentages are increasing every week. So it takes, like, if I have to sit down and do that, then I will try and avoid it. And then I'll go
Mm-hmm.
to the gym and try and do it. And then it slows everything down. So I think probably the more interesting thing is just do everything the night before. So I've literally not got to think about anything. Like all my clothes are in my bag, gear is done, drinks aren't ready yet because I do them in the morning. Um, but they're basically like ready to go, just to be mixed together and put in the bag.
Yeah,
So yeah.
and then out the door to the gym. Anything post gym, apart from going to work.
No, because I basically go straight from there. I did try a lot of things. So I was just writing down the things I tried that didn't work. Because it
Okay.
wasn't like I just sort of landed on this one and it worked. Because this feels quite short, but the list is quite long because I've got it written. I guess this is one thing that I do that people probably don't do. I've got it all written on a whiteboard. You see my whiteboard? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got it written on like a wipe clean whiteboard with the list down the side, obviously, and then across the top the days. So I can mark off on the days, did I manage to do it or not? And
Mm-hmm.
I can have a look at the end of the day and see, okay, did I do it or not do it? And then just a little nudge basically to say, well, you said you were going to do this and you didn't make it. And the one I'm not making at the moment is get out of the door before
Yeah.
6 to get to the gym on time. So that's the one I'm missing, because I'll make sure, like for sure, I'll go to the gym. I'm making sure I'm doing the journal, and it's the journal that's pushing it over a little bit, because I'm not
Mhm.
just sitting down and getting going straight away. So I think the phone in the kitchen might be the answer.
So
Other things that I got, mate.
what you've got yourself there, if you realise it or not, I'm probably not telling you something you don't know, is you've got yourself a habit tracker and
Mm-hmm.
also a review process, which is super powerful.
By Jigger.
Mm.
It's good. I should structure the review process a little bit better, but I put it where I can't avoid it. I think it's a bit like you were saying last time about your journal, where you put it
Yes.
on the sofa now with the pen. So right now, the whiteboard is on my bed with the pen on it. So I can't get in the bed
Yeah,
without
you've
moving
got
the
to move
whiteboard.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's right there with it. So that makes sure it gets done. So have a look at that. And it just reminds me as well when I look at it, because I write down, I've got like leave for gym 5:45. I write down on it what time did I actually go. So we're overshooting by a bit. In reality, I've like put a buffer on a buffer on a buffer, which I
Mhm.
don't know if it makes sense or not. Actually, then probably maybe that doesn't make sense. Habit experts, let us know in the comments,
Yeah.
because
But in
I
your
would like,
mind, you know that's not the deadline.
yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Because other tricky thing is, like, even if that doesn't work, I'm still going to make the deadline the other end, but I don't like it because, like you say, I can rush and get there, but I don't want to rush.
Mhm.
So this is the tricky thing. So I'm
Takes a
trying
lot
to
of the
set myself
enjoyment
up
out of
for
it, doesn't it?
not a rush. Yeah, I mean, my training's set up in such a way that it's intentionally worked through quite quickly. Like, I'm not doing powerlifting style where I need a lot of rest or anything. I'm just
Hmm.
getting it done, which is good. Um, but yeah, it's not nice. The bit I like the least is when I've got something written down, a program, because that's also, I'm committing to myself, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then in the end, I can't do it because I've run out of time, because I haven't
Yeah.
got my ass in gear and got out. That's the more annoying bit. It's not about being
Mm.
in a rush so much. It's more like that was what I had programmed to do, and now I haven't done
Yeah.
because I
You
hit that.
broke. You broke
I
the
broke that
contract.
promise to myself. Yeah,
Done.
exactly. So yeah, the whiteboard probably people don't do the getting it all ready the night before. And actually, I saw that on Instagram, I think, where the guy had all his clothes stacked up for the week, like all his days stacked up for
Mm.
the week, thing. And he just pulled another set of clothes off a pile. So I don't do that, but I do just put everything in my bag ready to go. Like, I put the work clothes in the bag, put the training stuff next to it, and then I haven't even got to think. I just get up, do the stuff, put the clothes on, have a breakfast, do the journal, go. So that clears my cobwebs, keeps me moving in the morning, make sure I train because that's the most critical thing. And what I was doing, and before I started this thing with Leon, is cleaning up, because I was really struggling in the week to find enough time with, like, riding on the weekend to actually tidy up. So I took one day out of the gym, and in the morning I tidy up. And that was really
Mm.
cool. That was super cool. So I just go around, tidy up, take bins out, and then there's just like a little block of time for that. That really works nicely.
Mhm.
That's good.
I know we spoke a bit about Cal Newport stuff, and he's got
Mm.
that. Is it a time block planner?
Yeah, got that.
Did
Yeah.
you? Yeah, I was just wondering if you'd started using that, or did kind of go into that as well.
Trying, trying to use it, but struggling to use it at the moment because I've got too many places where I put something.
Hmm.
And part of his system is to basically have, and he does have a few different places. So he's got this time block planner, which is a written record of what he wants to do in a day and then taking that time out. He uses calendars, like an Outlook calendar, for example, for meetings, which I also have. But then I've got a phone list,
Mm.
which is like my to-do list, and I quite like that because I just quickly look in it. Because the time block planner is a bit awkward in terms of size. It's like a sort of A5, about A5 page size, and then there's two.
Yeah.
So in total, when it's opened out, it's like A4 size, but it's a bit clunky. I really like it because I think there's something super powerful just about writing things down, which we talked
Hmm.
about last time.
Hmm.
There's something super, super powerful about just writing it down, and that's basically like committing you to it. So I do like it, but I haven't got it working properly yet. I think the most interesting thing about what he has put together in that system. Is he has a thing called a shutdown ritual, which I didn't
Yes.
start yet, so can't really talk very much about that. But that sounds good. Um,
It's like the
but
other end of it's like your afternoon slash evening routine
yeah,
type thing,
yeah,
but
it's basically
it's
making
kind
sure
of
that
bookends the work day, doesn't it?
that make sure you've sort of taken care of all the things you've looked at, and that you've captured everything that you need to capture and you've put it somewhere. But I haven't done it yet. So I think we might have talked about this in another podcast. It's like if you try and do all of these things at
Hmm.
once, probably you're not going to do anything at all in
Yeah.
the end. No, you just try and do too much at once. So training is running, morning routine, more or less running enables the training. That's good. This journaling thing is running. I had the Cal Newport time block planner before, but I just haven't managed to get that going yet. I need some other trigger to make that work. Like that needs
Mm,
to just be open on my desk, um, because I've got it in my bag, but it's not visible enough. And that was another note that I had here, was that with a lot of these things, like with my whiteboard, if I put my whiteboard somewhere, even though I think I'm going to see it and use it, if it's not actually in my way, that's
mm.
not getting used. I'll just ignore it. So I have to
Yeah.
like physically put it in my way and be conscious of putting these things around and in my way.
It's like
So
when
yeah,
people put stuff on the stairs to take upstairs,
yeah. I mean,
people
I have
just
to do
walk
that with
past
everything.
it. People just
Yeah,
walk past it because they,
yeah,
even though it's there, it
yeah,
just becomes wallpaper, isn't it? So,
yeah,
so that's the thing is that you just blind to it.
yeah. There's some visual phenomenon about that, isn't there? Where your brain just sees the picture that it always sees. So if something moves, then it will see something different. But if it all stays in the same place, it
It's like
does not.
your brain deletes your nose out of your vision because it's just totally
Well, I can see mine a bit.
yeah. But only if you look at it, only if you focus on it. Like it's always there. It's always there in front of you. Your brain just deletes it because it doesn't
Yeah,
need it
don't
because
need it,
it's
does it?
always there.
Don't need that. Don't need that. Yeah, other thing that I thought was interesting is I didn't arrive at this on it immediately, and I tried a lot of things. I was trying meditation in the morning. That, as part of this trying to get out of bed thing, doesn't really work because I wanted to do like meditation straight away. I really like it, and I did it for a long time, for being able to think more clearly and focus and so on. But if I do it in the morning, I just fall asleep.
Mm.
Like
Well, 'cause you're
and
relaxed.
well, and I'll realize like I'm asleep now because you
Yeah.
really actually need to focus, don't you? You need to concentrate and focus. So the breath work works quite well because it's like a super simple version of meditation. Like I just have to concentrate on breathing,
Yeah. And
but
is
it's
it the
quite.
breath work that amps you up? Because there's a couple of different ones, isn't there?
I don't think so,
I
honestly.
say
It's not a relaxing one though.
no. I said just
It's like I don't feel
generally.
relaxed.
I just generalise the whole of the breath work game there with. There's
Wow.
a couple of different ones in there.
Yeah,
there's,
there's a few
there's
different
quite
ones.
there's quite a lot to it.
The the biggest benefit I notice is that my head is clear. And there's some, like I would say I'm not a very anxious person, but if I've got a few thoughts running and I'm thinking, well, just chill out, monkey brain, because we're not
Mhm.
fully powered up yet, that just clears everything basically. So that's quite good. Just this Wim Hof breathing. So yeah, the other things that I tried that didn't work were Duolingo. So I'm learning German. I learned Spanish with Duolingo as well. Other language apps are available. But it's
Mhm.
also too much in the morning. It's too much. So my brain isn't in on and learning mode yet. So could do a little bit, but it was a bit slow and a bit frustrating to try and do that in the morning. So tried, didn't work. And cold shower, I also tried. So ice bath I like, but cold shower, because I saw this in one of the Huberman podcasts, I think about doing the cold shower or the cold exposure before you go and train. And
Yeah.
I thought, well, maybe if I can just go straight in there, that will then wake me up enough that I'm just ready to go then. And it does work, but I was so not looking
Old.
forward to doing it. I was just like, it's awful in a shower for some reason. It's much worse than in the ice bath, right? And also the pain of like just having to like get completely undressed, have a
Yeah.
shower, dry like I've had a shower,
Yeah. Yeah.
get dressed again, then go to the gym and have a shower. I was like, no. So I tried that
Yeah.
and it did work, but didn't really fit in the routine very well.
Mhm.
So that's basically landed where I am now.
Okay. And by morning routine, I suppose when you think about the morning, that could encompass anything up to midday, but we're literally talking about before starting work. This is the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say my very early morning. Basically, my what things do I need to do before I get out of the house routine to win straight away, to set me up for my first win. Hopefully a win in training would
Yeah.
be good. Yeah. So just lay everything out, make sure I've got my direction set already prepared. That's the biggest enabler, I think, for me, is just get everything prepared. And then you haven't got any option then, have you? Because if everything's laid out, what are you going to do then? It's like I
Mm.
can't then not
Just
go to
do
the
it.
gym, can I? Now my bag's packed, my work clothes are inside the bag. To not go to the gym, I would have to take my work clothes out of my
Out.
bag, put them on. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of setting myself up that I can't not go. And actually, in now, and I should be anyway, but I'm like looking forward to go to the gym anyway. So
Mhm.
that's good. Like I want to go. So that from
That's
that
cool.
point of view, motivation pretty good and generally pretty high. And I think that really helps as well with this little challenge that we've got going on with
Yeah.
Leon. That's also winning. So then we need to come up with another challenge after that. What we'll do after that, I think we'll just do a reverse, try and keep that under control, and see how far we get. Winning, recommend morning routine, bit of structure. It's good because I'd be all over the gaff if I didn't have one.
Nice. You want to hear
Now I
mine?
want to, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I do.
So you haven't spent 30 plus minutes talking about your morning routine. I just,
Mm.
every time we do one of these, I have a newfound respect for good podcasters who can cram an absolute education
Mm.
into like an hour's worth of conversation. It blows my
Well,
mind how they do it.
well, I think they
Absolutely
might
blows my
plan
mind.
them.
I don't think they do.
You don't think they do, or you think they do?
No, I just need to get better at talking about stuff better. That's it. Practice. You can't script it, can you?
Practice.
Can't script it. But
You
I
can't
think there's a
script
couple
it,
of
but
things. One, you need to not talk over each other. That's rule number one. But you
very
also need
difficult.
to know what you're talking about and have a point to get to, and be able to articulate those points like really precisely. I think that's all comes with practice. So yeah, so I've got two. I say two. I've got a weekday routine and then a weekend routine, and they're a bit different. So I'll go through my weekday one. Get up at 5:45 a.m. And recently, I'm going to talk about the Lumi alarm because you've mentioned it, but I wake up to a Lumi alarm, which is a sunrise alarm clock. You know this. I'm telling you something you don't know. And it gradually gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And then at the time that you've set for your alarm, you have a nice little tweeting birds or tree frogs or something.
It's
And
not
the
that nice though,
idea
is it?
is nicer than out of just wrenching you out of sleep to
They're a
that
bit
is horrendous.
scratchy. I think maybe it's a bit too close to me. Is yours far away from you?
Yes, not
Yeah,
get into
I
that.
think mine's too close to me.
So, so yeah, so I like that because when I get up in the night, as I do as a 41-year-old man, if the Lumi alarm is turned off, if the light isn't on, I know I've got at least 30 minutes before I need to get up. If the light's on, I'm like, okay, well, it's time to start getting ready to get up. Previously to having that, if I got up in the night, I'd be like, oh, what time is it? And then I'd check my phone because it's next to my bed,
Mm.
which I think is just an absolute wrong move to make. And then you put the light in your eyes, and it's like 2 a.m. And then you're like, oh man, it's 2 a.m. I have another 3 hours till I get up, or whatever. It's 4 o'clock, and all that kind of garbage. So you have that garbage going on. So I wake up to that. Um, I then get dressed into gym clothes. I come downstairs. I have a banana. I have a Tongkat Ali and cod liver oil, my little supplement to start the day. And then I grab my Stim free pre workout. and my creatine with 500 mils of water, separate drinks. So I have a little stimulant free, so there's got no caffeine in it, but it's got beta-alanine and all this kind of stuff in it. And the reason that I do that is I find that if I don't have caffeine until an hour plus after I get up, so it's normally a couple of hours after I get up, then I don't have a crash later on in the day, and I don't feel as tired later on in the day. And that has been a massive improvement from listening to things about Andrew Huberman about sun in the eyes and caffeine intake and sleep and stuff.
Yeah.
So I
Timing.
really can't stress enough how much better I feel without that caffeine straight away. And I used to have like a half a monster when I went and trained,
Oof.
and yeah, well, it was not a whole monster, and it was a
Yeah, well,
Monster
just
Ultra.
the monster in general doesn't make me feel good. Like any of those energy drinks, like I had tried a few different ones recently to just have something, like when we
Mhm.
drove back to the
Yeah,
UK, and
yeah,
they
not
all
great.
make me feel rough. I don't know what's in
Yeah,
them that makes you feel so bad
yeah,
because even like the sugar-free ones and stuff, nightmare.
yeah. So yeah, grab that stuff and then go to the gym and I train. So 6:30 a.m. So I train CrossFit. Uh, really helps to have Becky here to come along with me because sometimes I'll not want to go and I'll even if I'm thinking, oh God, I'm so tired, and I'll say, oh God, I'm so tired. She'll say, you don't have to go, and I go, yeah, I do. It's that's little, yeah, I do. I'm going now. I have the kind of just immediate, as soon as I say something out loud that I don't want to do or feel like not doing, the immediate reaction is now I've got to do it. It doesn't matter what it is. So after training, come back home, and then I sit at the table here. I'll make myself a coffee and I will do my gratitude journal before I start work. And I either do that with some sort of deep focus music on or no music at all because I really find I have to concentrate. And if I listen to something with lyrics, I can't concentrate on what I'm trying to write. If I listen to podcasts, I'm zoning in on them and I can't focus. So it's either like some really like just low background focus music, and it only takes a couple of minutes to do that. In the warmer months in the UK, I will do that in the garden. So I go take my coffee and I'll sit outside in the garden and I'll do my journal and then I'll come back in and start work. That's pretty much it.
Do
That's
you
the morning
set
routine.
anything up? Do you need to set something up night before, or are you getting that stuff ready in the morning?
No, I don't need to set it up. I've got a decent amount of time. The gym is 10 minutes drive. So as long as I get out of here by like 10 past, quarter past six at the latest. Still get there in time. It's absolutely fine. Um,
No ice bath for you in the morning.
no, not on the weekdays, but my weekend routine does involve an ice bath. So 100% relate to what you're saying about, it's like you're having to have that second shower and it slows you down because I used to do ice baths every day, and if on the weekdays I would do them like either in the afternoon or in my lunch break. But I found that then my lunch break is I have to have a shower before I get in the ice bath or after I get in the ice bath, and then I have to warm up, and there's quite a lot involved around that, and it kind of eats into the time. And I'm thinking about doing the ice bath, and I almost like, oh God, I don't want to do that ice bath. So I kind of scrapped it from most weekdays, with the exception of one or two.
Did you notice any difference in mood
No,
or anything?
no. However, that could be getting balanced out by gratitude journaling and things like that.
Mm,
I don't know. I wouldn't say I feel 50% worse because I'm having 50% less ice baths.
yeah.
So
But
that's
then
where
they
I'm.
overlap, did they? At some point, you were doing the ice bath on its own, then you did ice bath and gratitude journal, and now you've tapered semi off ice bath and
Mm,
just doing gratitude journal. You'd think
mhm.
that would be a different mechanism of whatever it's doing, like psychologically or physiologically.
Yeah,
You think that would be a completely different mechanism when you bike it? Maybe not, because maybe it's all
yeah,
dopamine related or serotonin related.
yeah.
We have to ask Big Hubes.
Yeah, see what
Send
he
him a little
thinks.
question. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the weekday, and I think the one thing which I'm battling with and probably continue to battle with is the stuff which really slows me up in the morning, especially when I'm trying to do my gratitude journal, is being on my phone.
Oof.
So I'll be like,
Hmm.
right, I just need to put this phone away because I can do that after. I'm like, whatever's going on there, it's not deathly urgent. I can do that after. I'll just put that away and focus on this. Because otherwise, I'm like, checking my banking apps and doing this other
Okay.
stuff and
I was
having a
gonna
look at
I was gonna ask.
YouTube and
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what are you checking on there? Because
yeah,
I think I'm probably quite lucky with that, in that that's not even on my radar at all to even think and check it. Because I've taken all the social media is off completely. Banking apps didn't even pop in my mind to check in the morning, but I've managed to get that pretty under control. And I can't do anything about that anyway, so I just leave it
yeah,
alone.
yeah. That's it. So that's my one thing, and I think that kind of messes a lot of people up. It doesn't really mess me up because it doesn't stop me getting into action. So, for example, I won't lay in bed for 20 minutes doom scrolling and not get up and get dressed and go to the gym.
Mm,
I have my phone alarm set for 5 minutes after my sunrise alarm, only because
mm.
it was unproven at the time. Like I'd never had one, and I didn't want to get up late. So that's something that I'm just working with and building into to getting up. I could probably put it outside the room, and the alarm would still go off and wake me up. But
I
don't,
do the same. Yeah, I have the
it's not
Lumia.
uncomfortable enough. It's not uncomfortable
Mm,
enough currently for me to have to change it. So that's fine. But yeah, the,
mm.
the Lumi alarm is at the bottom of my bed, so I have to physically get up to turn it off. And sometimes I'll get up to turn it off and get back in, but because the light is on,
Yeah.
I
Mm.
don't ever then close my eyes again because the light's on. And I'm like, well,
It's,
I've been rousing and been getting up for the last 15, 20 minutes anyway. So
so
I'll
yours is
get
really
up.
bright then, is it? Maybe yours is different to my one. Because mine is definitely, if all the lights are off in here,
Mm.
it's barely a light source in the corner of the room, honestly.
Really? No, I can read by mine. Like,
Ah, no, I must have mine set up wrong, and I'll check that.
check it.
Um, yeah, because you can adjust the brightness on it, can't you? But I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure even when I put it on max, I would struggle. I haven't got very good night vision. I'm no whatever can see well in the dark. I'm no owl.
Yeah, well, in the yeah, they can. I think they can. In the evenings, I use it as part of my evening kind of reading practice. I put the sunset on and I get in bed and I
Mm.
read until I can't see the
Mm.
words, and then I'm like, okay, night night. So yeah, so that's routine number one. It's not particularly hardcore. There's nothing in there which is crazy. People might think getting up and going to the gym at 6:30 is beyond their capacity, but I always wanted to be the kind of person who got up and went to the gym before work, and then I was because I did it and I stuck at it. And now the downside is by like 9 o'clock at night, I'm like, okay, I'm tired.
Mm. I'm
But
just thinking about the phone. Just thinking about the phone.
don't worry about
Is
my
there
phone.
any is
It's
there
fine.
anything else you can
No problem.
do about that
I
that
don't need
stops
to
you?
do
Not like,
anything.
can you?
Don't need
You
to do
said you're
anything
having a
about it.
battle with your phone.
Yeah, but it's not. It's. I'm not uncomfortable enough. It's not stopping me from doing it. Every time I do it, I'm like, I recognize that I'm
Ah,
doing it,
okay.
and I
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
no, you're
Yeah.
here to do this because the book is here, and I'm here, and here's the pen, and I've got a finite amount of time to get this done. So flipping through whatever isn't going to help. So then I go, boom. It's
Yeah, I
just
guess
it's
that's the
just that
good.
little pull, isn't it? It's that little pull. Once you
Yeah,
open it, it's designed to keep you on it. So I
what's
just go,
the good thing about having the CrossFit class fixed starting at 6:30 is you haven't got any option then to
mm,
go for 6:30. I mean, because I don't have that in mine. It's like if I get there, I can start training when I want. So like to have an actual fixed start time there. Also is cool when you train with somebody, isn't it, to go there
yeah.
and like then you're accountable to them to make sure you get there on time.
Yeah, like when I go away for work, I still get up and go to the gym. It's for 6 to 6:30 in the morning.
Mm.
The um the last time I was away, I laid there in bed and I was just
Mhm.
like, you don't have to do this. And I had that little fight with myself, and then I was like, yeah, you got to go do this. But that cost me 20 minutes, and that
Yeah.
20 minutes made me rush, and that rushing made me uncomfortable. And then that's another lesson that I learned. So next time, like, don't do that again. Like you
Yeah. It's all right if you can,
way past doing that.
yeah, if you can learn it after one, that's good, but
Yeah,
struggling
yeah.
with that.
So that's weekday. The weekend one's slightly different. So when I have the kids every weekend, what I will do is they're up at kind of 7 and bopping about and doing stuff anyway. And what I like to do is I get up and straight away get in the ice bath. So I'll have, in terms of setting up for the morning, I'll have my dry robe next to the door. I'll have a towel on top of the dry robe. The Lumi alarm will go off. So I'm like, okay, yeah, time to get up. Sometimes I beat the alarm up, but it's the first thing I do is I put the dry robe on, grab my towel, go brush my teeth, and then come downstairs, say good morning to those guys on the way to the ice bath, which I would have prepped the night before to make sure it's cold enough. So at the minute it's like 4 degrees C. And then have a podcast on playing whilst I do that. So just something, a little distraction. Jump in there for 2 minutes, out again, and then I come upstairs, and whilst I'm kind of drying off, I'll do my McGill big three. So in my dry robe, I'll
Mhm.
put the towel down on the floor. I'll turn a little fan heater on just to warm up because I've just struggled to stay warm. I think just have cold hands and feet. And then yeah, I'll do my back exercises then. Then once I've finished that, it only takes like 5 minutes to do that. Come downstairs, give them breakfast, make sure they're okay, and then I sit at the same place at the table. In the summertime, we'll go outside and I'll have a coffee and do my gratitude journal. So the only difference there is I haven't got an hour and a half out of the house to go training, but everything else about that is the same. Sorry, I don't have the banana and the creatine and the Stim free supplements because I'm not going to go
Mm.
and
Just get
go and
charged
train.
up to
Yeah,
play
riled up to
PlayStation with the kids.
yeah. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of the weekend version. I take them to school every Monday morning, so I'll do that a little bit. So there's a slight variance there in that I'll get up half an hour before they do my teeth brushing and my ice baths, come back up, do my back exercises, and then I start with them for the school day. So I'll do that Mondays and every other Tuesday, kind of when I have them on a
Mm.
Tuesday morning as well.
Did you try any other configurations of things? Because at the moment you're saying there's no ice bath in the morning. You get up with the Lumi, go downstairs, eat a banana, get all your stim-free gear in. Gratitude journal is afterwards though. Go train, gratitude journal,
Yeah,
done.
I think the ideal is that you do like the gratitude journal first thing, that you wake up and do it, because I think I mentioned on the last episodes that I'm sitting there, I've just had a good workout most of the time,
Mm,
got a really
mm.
really nice coffee, I'm gonna start work soon, and I'm just like, life's pretty sweet. So then I'm
Easy.
just thinking about how grateful I am that you know I've got a good work routine. I'm having a nice coffee. Okay, and I just think of something different. So yeah, I could build that in, to do it before I leave, but
Be a bit
I
of a
don't need.
squeeze on it.
Yeah, I don't need to. I don't really need to. So again, there's no motivation to change that. I mean, it works really well. I enjoy sitting there and thinking about it, and I also think about how I'm going to make today good. I feel like I've got more time to really think about that.
Hmm.
Whereas if I was trying to get it in before I get out of the house to go to the gym, I'd be like, oh, got to rush. Or I'd have to get up earlier, and I don't want to get up any earlier. Getting up early enough as it is.
That question I missed out of my list. How am I going to make today good?
Yeah, great.
Add that one back in. That's good.
Hmm. But yeah,
So you've
I would say the same thing as you in terms of once I've done those things, I'm like, well, I'm off to a good start now. So I've done like a load of hard stuff before a lot of people have even got up, and that
mm,
I think is that kind of makes me feel I've achieved something already.
and it makes me
Um,
feel superior
yeah,
to all
it
you.
makes me feel a lot, just loads better than everybody. No,
Yeah.
not really. No, it does. Like I sometimes when we drive to the gym, I think like who else is doing this? Like who else is like dragging themselves up at 6 o'clock in the morning? And loads of people are, loads of people.
Yeah, a lot of
Um,
people, I think. Yeah.
yeah, but
But how long have you been doing that for?
5 years, I think.
And you notice, have you regularly have to miss some days though, don't you? Because like basically now I've ended up with doing this little challenge with Leon. I'm training every day now. And I didn't do it before because I think I can't really manage it. It doesn't really work, but actually working quite well for me. Um, but if I miss, doesn't feel so good. But I don't have any other reason not to either. But you're taking care of some other stuff, aren't you? Because you say you have to take the kids to school on Monday, so that's a completely different day, isn't it?
Yeah, it's different, but I still train,
Ah,
just
okay.
not 6:30.
Ah, you just go late. Okay.
I still train, and if I can't get to the CrossFit gym, then I've got the stuff here, so
Yeah,
do
true.
it.
True, true.
Do it in my lunch
Just do
break.
it.
Do it after work. Do it in the evenings. So yeah, I don't. I tend not to train. Sorry, I think I keep thinking about training as just doing like weights because I do
Mm,
cardio pretty much every day. So
hmm.
and I tend to train twice a day, which I'll probably have to get out of the habit of at some point.
Right.
Otherwise, I'll feel bad because I feel bad if I can't train twice a day, and I'll be like, oh, I have to train twice a day. Whereas actually, I just need to reprogram myself to maybe not rely on that, like you're saying about that whole feel good stuff, and maybe need
Yeah.
to or want to, and all those kind of things come into my mind. But there's going to be times when I'm not going to be able to do that just for other commitments, and I don't want to feel like I've let myself down by not doing it, or that I'm sat there in the evening and go, well, I have to go and train now.
Yeah. Okay. I guess
Just got to.
it's a different thing where if you're feeling like you let yourself down, because I wouldn't feel like, I guess there would be one element of me that would feel like, oh yeah, I said I was going to do that, but I didn't. But if I had said, okay, I haven't got time for that tomorrow, which some days I don't have time for it. For me, it's more like I just feel better if I train. So whatever, endorphins or whatever are being released,
Mhm.
it's a benefit for me to go and train now. And I think we talked about it before. I really notice if I've had a couple of days when I'm not training that my mood is starting to like get worse, and then you start making bad decision about food or sleep or etc. So my sleep decisions are bad anyway. So for me, it's just a win to go. No, like it really does me a favor to go. So
Yeah,
I
and that
just
was
and I only really realized recently. Sorry.
something different over the last 3 years is that I now don't stay up until 11:30
Hmm.
in the
Because what time do
evening.
you go to bed? You say
I
9.
mean, like nine, half nine. I'm getting there. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I just know if you push it past 10 o'clock and then you're into like, okay, now maybe you'll get 7 hours sleep.
Hmm.
And then half 11, all right, okay, now you're into like 6 hours and a bit of sleep. And what if
Hmm.
you can't sleep? And like you
Okay.
can't get to sleep and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, kind of like I got like the witching hour, which is
Hmm.
any time between 7 and 10 p.m. to be honest. But once I hit kind of like 9 o'clock, I'm like, okay, don't start anything new. Let's not be doing something that's going to take more than like 40 minutes.
Do you actually sleep through? Like if you go to bed at 9,
Mm-hmm.
will you sleep through until? Because if I go to bed at 9, I'm awake at 2.
Yeah, but then I'll go back to sleep. Like sometimes that happens, yeah, for sure. And I'll
Mm.
need to get up and go to the loo at some point because I'm so
Mm.
well hydrated from all the coffee. But yeah, that's
Mm.
another big one. Caffeine, like into the evening, is like a big no. I can
When's your
just
last
about
coffee?
I'm quite loose with it. I mean, I'd probably go. Often it's about two, but sometimes I
Mm.
might have like something around four. I think four is maybe
Whoosh,
like the real back end of it.
pushing
But I
it.
do have some nice decaf now, which I had at the start of this, because I just enjoy. I enjoy that. Yeah, that
Sounds
first.
good.
That I suppose one thing I haven't really talked about much is that first coffee of the day is so good
Mm.
as part of that routine for me that it makes me want to have another coffee. And if I have that other coffee, it's nowhere near as good. So I often
Hmm.
don't have. I'm like, oh yeah, I'd have another one of those, and I don't because I know it's not going to be as good because I just really enjoy that first one, and then maybe like a few hours later I might have a different type of coffee, make myself a different something or other. But yeah, it's so good that I want to have another one immediately afterwards, and I know it's not going to be the same.
You probably got a double whammy of like dopamine and coffee effect and all sorts going on there, haven't you? Because coffee, I think we talked about this as well. That was in the Huberman podcast, and he was talking about coffee being, I can't remember what the term was, enabler maybe or something like that, where it makes you like the things that you have around the coffee. So if you have coffee at the gym, it makes you like the
The
gym, like
gym,
being in that
yeah,
place, or the people that you have coffee with. There's some reaction, like psychological reaction or chemical reaction,
mm,
that makes you like those things. And also animals, they did some experiments with animals, and animal eating of a food with caffeine added to it, not coffee, caffeine, and one without, even though it's the same food, they will automatically go for the one with the caffeine. It makes them like it more.
that's cool.
It's quite interesting. So maybe it just like layers up that need to
Mm.
have another coffee. Like the coffee makes you like coffee even more. Because I went nuts
Yeah,
today, man, with coffee. Couldn't stop today. And I need to just, because I'm not enjoying the next ones either. But for some reason, I think it's last night was the problem.
there you go.
Because we come back to this story of you basically
Sleep
then
debt.
have this lack of control of your decision making power, don't you, with something stupid
Mm.
like, should I have a coffee or not? And you can't go
Yeah.
like, well, I don't need a coffee because I just had one an hour ago. And then there you are at the coffee machine getting another one in you.
Yeah. Well, it lowers, I think that if you get less sleep, it lowers your willpower, like your ability to
Yeah.
go, no, that's a bad idea. Because you
I
just
think
go,
also your,
oh, I need that chocolate to help me
Mhm.
wake up, or I deserve it because I hadn't slept. And you just go, okay, yeah, that sounds reasonable. That
it's,
sounds legit. Let's do it.
it's, it's funny the rationalization that you can go through. Although I don't think I've ever thought to myself, I deserve that because I didn't sleep. I think it's a good one, though. No
There's probably
sleeping.
some people out there who do. Hey, drop a comment below if that resonates with you. I think I think we've covered it. What do you think?
I reckon we've hit it.
Any anything else that we need to do to just close this one off?
Hmm. I would just briefly summarize my stuff. So I'd need to have that whiteboard. I think it sounds like we've got two quite different approaches to it, doesn't it? Whereas I need to like write everything down, otherwise I'm just going to go and randomly do I don't know what. And you've got yours quite neatly trimmed down to some things, which means that process just kind of works for you, doesn't it? Which is quite good. I I don't know if I want to try the experiment of not having that written down. Maybe just the act of writing it down and needing to follow it makes also some trigger to stray off that, but now my brain's just going all over the place. So I got my
Yeah,
whiteboard. I need my evening to set up my morning. I got to have my training written down because you don't have to write your training down either, do you? Because when you go to CrossFit, someone's giving you
it's already
training unless you're
programmed.
training at home. And that's quite interesting, isn't it? And then the bag is packed, ready to go because even that can throw me off. So mine
Mm,
is a little bit fussy, isn't it? A little bit fussy and a lot of
mm.
preparation going in there to make sure that I do that right. I wonder if it would be easier if I wasn't doing it a little bit too early, probably in the morning, and with a little bit more sleep. Because with that chimp brain in control, he needs some guidance, doesn't he? He needs a little bit of direction there, but
I think
it's working
more
for me.
sleep is never a bad idea. Just if you can afford it.
I think you're right. I'm excited, and you will not believe how excited I am to try this phone in the kitchen thing.
Yeah, just go throw it in there now.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in there, and I'm going to report back and see. I'm
In the
pretty sure
next
if I can put it in the
episode,
kitchen. Yeah. We're going to
which
do
is
the kitchen phone report.
episode 4 of 10 of this limited series that we've committed to for
Limited
all of
edition.
our viewers and listeners. Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. Thanks everybody for sticking with us. If you've got a morning routine, let us know. Chuck it in the
Yeah.
comments below. Let us know if you're going to try one after today. Actually, be interesting to see if anybody picks anything up, because we've had some people reach out to say, "Oh, yeah, I'm quite interested in that. I'm going to give that a go." And people will come and talk to me about some of the videos, like not physically in the comments, but they'll say, "Oh, what you were saying about that, I'm going to try that." So that's nice to know that it's having an impact on people. And yeah, so appreciate you all tuning in. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to the channel. You can follow us on Spotify if that's where you like to get your info from. But yeah, get in touch, get involved, drop a comment. Everything we've talked about will be listed in the description. So will be links to the YouTube videos, the products, the stuff, will all be there. So you can just click away till your heart's content. Maybe do it in the evening, not in the morning. We got to say to that,
Unless
Matt.
you're a unless you're a morning lark, and then go for it. But
Yeah,
don't stay up too late clicking links because you'll regret it.
yeah,
A successful morning is preceded by a prepared evening. That's what we will say.
cool. That's it. We made it. Catch you in the next one. See
Ciao.
you.